Okay. Right. I am streaming. Okay. All right. So I've got a bit of work I wanted to do with some video editing pipeline stuff. I've got animations kind of working. I've got a few things happening, and I want to explore that today. So these animations come from a few different things, but it boils down basically to putting a time-dependent function that generates PNG images and piping all that through FFmpeg into to get videos. And I'm also just playing around with various effects and whatnot to try and get cool looking video clips. So for example, let me text scale adjust this back to normal. There we go. Okay, so just want to think about where I'm gonna take today. I don't know where I'm going with everything yet, so gotta play it by ear a little bit. Okay, so the goal for the video stuff I'm working on is to take... Actually, let me just make sure I've got everything safely. I don't want any... Sorry, just making sure all the important details of things aren't not like showing bad stuff that shouldn't be shared kind of thing. Okay, looks good. Okay, right. So the goal, what I'm trying to do here is make a tool that speeds up the creation of like stream highlight edits. So what I want to do with stuff is I have all my VODs on this YouTube channel, like all of them, and sometimes I want to kind of take clips from those VODs and edit them into a simple little video that I could put on YouTube. But it can be a real pain to do all of that completely manually. So the thought I had was to make a script that takes YouTube URLs and timestamps and takes clips from the YouTube videos directly and pipes it through a basic automatic editor and goes from there. So I've got a few pieces working. So what I want to show is I'm going to take a random clip, say here, copy the video URL at the current timestamp, and what I can do is run it excuse me, I can do a clip from here, oops, there. So I can take a clip from this video URL, as this time is where it starts in the video in seconds, and then I can add a duration from that point that I want to clip. So let's imagine that I want to clip a whole minute. I can clip 60 seconds from it like this, and it'll automatically clip that. Oh, did a calisthenics workout yesterday, and I'm feeling it in my arms. All kinds of pull-ups, push-ups, and dips, that sort of thing. Feels good. But I'm tired though. So this is a bunch of gobbledygook, but it did succeed. So if I list here, it's a long, weird looking title, but that is the file that it just downloaded. So what I'm going to do actually is move it. Let me clear out some other videos here for a moment. Let's move this I like 3D models thing to asdf.mov. So if I open that clip, let me just make sure it's not gonna blast here. It should be okay.
Not at the moment.
So this
what
is
I'd like to do instead is
from that YouTube video, and it's exactly a minute long. So whether or not this is a clip that's useful in particular is unimportant, but the fact that it works is pretty nice. So it uses YouTube DL, YouTube Downloader, under the hood to do that. So I'm not the mastermind behind the clipping, but you can pass URLs into YouTube DL and then pass video URLs into FFmpeg and then download clips. So I have that here. This clipping stuff is all built right here. So there's probably ways that I can improve this. In fact, I have an idea for the clip thing that I might change in a minute. But the next thing that's kind of fun to try is I also have a few little things in here like blur border resize here. What I want to do with this is, or what I can do with this, I should say, this is a work in progress, but let's do it. Blur border resize, and then pass it in a video file that already exists. So I'm going to call it asdf.mov, and it won't overwrite that video, it'll keep it, but it'll generate a new video with this sort of effect around it, which once it's done running, I can show you what that is, and it works quite nicely. Bum ba-da-dum ba-dum ba-dum ba-da-da-da-dum. There we go, that ran. So now let's open it. Puts a BBR suffix on the footage just for now anyway.
Care enough to fix
so
that right
there we
now.
go. You can
Not
see
at the moment.
Same footage running.
What I'd like to do instead is
there. So it copied it and it blurs it in the background there. See? So that's pretty nice, I think. Kind of like that. Hey, Otsuzo. Otis Zoo, sorry. I might have got your name wrong there. Love your channel. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. I saw you gave me a follow. I wasn't online at the time, but thanks for following the channel. I appreciate it. Anything in particular that brings you here? Are you a Clojure dev or something along those lines? What's the story? Oops. Oh man. Just stretching out. I'm pretty interested in Clojure. Searched for it on YouTube and came across my channel. Oh, okay, cool stuff. Well, I'm excited that searching Clojure got me got some results. Love the hiccup clone and started watching some of the VODs too. Oh boy, wow. I'm honestly a little surprised that and thankful, like not anything negative about it. The VODs themselves, they're totally unedited, right? So I never have a strong expectation that a lot of people watch that. It's one reason I still make YouTube videos, of course, too. But good to know. That's exciting. I'm glad my Clojure stuff can be helpful to people. I really love making the videos. I really love doing my streaming as well. So it's always encouraging to have people excited in the content I'm working on. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. If you want a bit of context, not sure if you heard me talking about this today. I'm working on just some scripting stuff. And what I'm scripting is a bit of video edit and animation creation stuff with Clojure and Babashka. And Babashka is it's another way that you can run Clojure code if you're not familiar with it. You can use it to make scripts out of Clojure. So what I mean by that is so I have you're familiar with all of my VODs. What I want to work on is occasionally I want to clip bits from the VODs and compile it into a little YouTube video of kind of a stream highlights thing. And what I want to do is make that as easy as possible. So the idea is I want to make a little program that takes a list of video URLs and timestamps and will automatically get the clips and compile them with some effects into a single video. So that's what I'm working on today. Hopefully that makes some sense. I'll give an example of the clipping thing that I'm talking about. I'll also try not to blast your ears with additional audio here. So let me just take a random clip of something. It's not necessarily, pardon me, it's not necessarily memorable, but let's do, I don't know, something like this. So you can copy videos like this. You can do copy video URL at current time. So I do that. And then if I go to my scripting work environment here, I can do clip. I can paste that URL in there. And then I can say, let's do 20 seconds. And so this is running. And I'll show you what it does in just a minute. Anyone tuned in, by the way, I love trying to answer questions, so feel free to ask pretty much whatever, as long as it's not rude or whatever. And I'll either give an answer or try to point you in a direction where you could search things yourself, or just say I don't know, because I don't know everything. But feel free to speak up and ask questions. I'm always cool with that. So what just happened there, it invoked YouTube DL, a different program, in the background, downloaded the clip for the duration that I gave it, so 20 seconds from that exact point, and it saved it into the working directory. So if I list here the files, let's list that, ls, not list. Here, this really long, weird looking title is that video clip. It got rid of extra, it got sorry. It converted spaces into dashes. It got rid of capitals, so the name looks strange, but the name is derived from the title of the video. I might change that, but it works. So if I open that, it is exactly 20 seconds long and is from that part of the video that I had clipped. So the clip downloading portion works reasonably well for now, so that's a good start. And I'm working on I want to give a little bit of visual interest and context to the clips. So I want to be able to kind of overlay some graphical stuff onto it. And so what I'm working on is a bit of an effect, you could call it, this blur border resize thing. And what it does is, if I open ASDF, this one, it creates this blurred border around it like that, and it's a copy of the video with a Gaussian blur filter applied to it. Pretty simple, but it looks kind of neat. I think it could work as a starting visual style. I want to tweak it a bit, but you can see it's moving, right? It's kind of neat. Hey Mike, how's it going? I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well. Feeling pretty good today. Weather is still nice. I just am always... I've been happy for a month straight because the weather's been so nice. That's what it feels like anyway. How are things on your end there, Mike? So let's see. Been a bit busy in the past couple of days, so I wasn't able to tune in much. Stream's been going well. Yeah, Mike, they have been going well. Oh, you were here when there was a big raid, right? That was one of the wildest things I've experienced, which is exciting. I'm not sure if you heard that because of that, I actually tipped over into like I hit all the requirements to become an affiliate streamer now. So that was awesome. Yeah, it sure was. They tipped me into affiliate. I totally didn't expect that to happen. So it's funny because it's really great, but it's like, oh no, I've got this work to do now, because you have to like fill out tax forms and stuff like that before you can be approved for affiliate. So I have to work on that. So affiliate streaming is it's the first stage. That there's three stages. You can start a stream for free and you get whatever. It's this channel with the basics. Then there's affiliate, which lets you monetize the channel. So you can open up your channel for subscriptions and for bit donations. And then there's a third level, which is partner, and that has even more features that I don't actually know anything about. If you ever watch some popular, say, gameplay streamers, I think it's stuff like squad streams, and I'm sure there's other monetization opportunities for that sort of stuff. But affiliate is like now I can, once I go through the tax filing stuff, I can start getting a little bit of money and people can subscribe. Yes, Mike, you will be able to subscribe once I get the affiliate stuff done. It's on my list of things to do this weekend. Go through and read all the fine print and stuff. It's kind of like a business contract of some kind, so I want to take it pretty seriously. But yes, it is soon enough possible to start donating to this channel through bits and subscriptions. So that's exciting. I mean, it's like, it's not as if I demand all of that, but that I will be able to start doing that and maybe see a little bit of a little bit of money coming in. I could feed that back into the stream, and that's just long term really exciting. So that's been a fun change. And then I've been I've been it was a little quieter chat wise, but I've been working on Tuesday my SVG library, and I've been making nice improvements there. A viewer Green Coder gave a bunch of good feedback, and I improved translate elements and rotate elements and stuff like that. So things are cracking on nicely. So I'm feeling good these days. And today, I figured it out yesterday. See, this animation playing here is it's a transparent WebM, and this is generated from my own SVG library and code and stuff like that. So it's pretty sweet. Sounds like things are ramping up, which is great to see. It's really funny because this is the stuff I want to work toward, right? Like, it's very fun to see people engage, see growth, see more of all that stuff. And at the same time, it's like, wait a minute, I have to like be professional now. It's like I'm getting to the point where people are starting to have some valid criticism of some of the code I write. They're interested in seeing it work a certain way, and so there's things that are good, things that are bad. And the same is happening with the stream, you know, which all of that is really good, but it also means now I have to crank up the humility, you know. Stay humble, keep the eyes and ears open for improvements, all that stuff. But it's very exciting. To show the right, so that's what's been going on, and the goals for today: try to make something that can clip some of my highlights from streams and make it look kind of cool, and then concatenate videos together so I can get a semi-automatic stream highlight video creator. And some of the important things for me are to make it look pretty cool. So this was something I want to make look a little better. It's kind of cool. I don't know. It's not an effect so much as a style. So the stream highlight, I want it to be a clear video, but I want screen real estate for things like titles and other graphics that can add context to the clip. So I kind of want to shrink the video from 1080p down a little bit and kind of have it in a corner or something like that. So this is the first attempt at that. It's like a blur border effect, but the clip is a little too small, I think, and I'm not sure yet that this looks as cool as I envisioned it looking. So I can tweak that, but it's cool that it works, which is really nice. The clipping function works, but I am actually going to make a change to that right now. So where was I? Oh yeah, this is the wrong project. Let's do this. All right, we're in my scripts here. I tweeted about this animation this morning, and people seem pretty interested in it. The tweet's getting a bit of attention, which is exciting too. I'll go into the animation stuff in a little bit, but I wanted to just get some of the basics in place, right? Get some of the ideas working acceptably. YouTube clip. This is what I want. Okay, so right now what happens here, I run the clip thing, I give it a URL, and it expects that there's a timestamp in the URL, and then it uses just the duration to get the rest. So I want to add a few arities here to change how the function works a little bit so that I can use it a little more effectively. So let's see, the kind of things I want would be, let's have a look here. Anyone tuned in, by the way, if you have any questions or want to just chat about whatever, I always like asking and hearing what other people are working on project wise. Don't be scared. I try to be helpful and answer questions, and there's a lot of great people in my chat too who can sometimes give more insight to questions you have. So feel free to chat. First, here's the first thing I want to do. I want to wrap this up. Nope, that's not working the way I want. Come on, let's get a multi-arity here. I think that'll work. Yes, that looks correct. The other arity I want is thinking, well, let's do this. Start duration. URL start duration. That makes sense to me. So in this case here, the URL doesn't need to have a starting timestamp. So what'll happen here is stime should call it start time, I think. Maybe? I don't know. S time's fine. Okay, so with this arity, I'll just write this the silly way. Always more verbosity. But it's ugly, but I don't like it. Fine. Start time, duration. Are you happy? I hope you're happy. Okay, so right now I do need to actually copy this though, because I don't want to eliminate. So here we've got two arities, which is exactly what I want. This arity, URL duration, expects that the URL has a timestamp built in. I'm just trying to recall here. This probably needs to be fixed up a little bit. I'd give that merge request a thumbs up. Nice, Mike. Keeping me honest here. Keeping me honest. Okay. So in this case here, I actually don't need this line. That's the line I don't need. Okay, so using that, what I should be able to do, let's test that this actually works in a way that makes sense to me. I'm also just trying to think through titling these clips automatically. That's something I'll think about in a minute. So what I want to do here is actually copy this URL. It has no timestamp in it. What I want to do is kind of get a random 30-second clip from it as a test. So to do this, I'll just do it. So I'll run clip. The URL is this URL. Okay. And then the start time, it's in seconds. So let's do 1,000 seconds. And then the duration is, let's just do a 30-second clip. And hopefully that works. So here's the flaw in, oh, well, that didn't work. So let's have a peek here. No value supplied. Does this clip function also take a path to a direct video? By direct video, do you mean a video I have stored locally? Because if that's your question, currently it does not. This only does YouTube. This only does YouTube URLs. But that's actually a good idea to do that. I didn't even think of that. This would not require YouTube DL. Actually, that's a good point. Idea from Mike. Your name shows up in my notes randomly a lot, eh? Okay, so here, no value supplied for key.mov. Really? I have to see what's going on here. I don't know why that's doing that, but let's figure it out. Gotcha. I think the path to a local video would allow people to do stuff independent of YouTube or any other platform. That can be later enhancement if you want. One day I'm just going to change my name so I'm not in the notes. You'll be a ghost. Yeah, so actually that a serious question for a second. Do you like I could anonymize it, like I don't need to put your username on at all if you would prefer me not to. You let me know. I'm trying to provide credit to ideas and bits of code and stuff like that as much as possible. But if you want it anonymous or don't want me to do that at all, you just let me know. But also about clipping, you're totally right. The thing I'm just totally upfront about, this is script. If I go here, this is my scripts project. It is a collection of scripts primarily built with Clojure and Babashka. Might use other methods occasionally. It's a long-term, slow-moving project, perhaps only ever useful to me. So there's a little room for me to to not worry too much about usability in the wide sense. But it's never wrong to think about more generally applicable ways of doing things. So doing a local source clip is not a bad idea at all. If you could put my name next to only the good ideas, that would be great. Don't mind your name being in the notes one way or another. Pretty open person anyways. Okay, cool. I guess I should keep that in mind though. If other people might prefer anonymous and all that. And I mean, most of the ideas you've given me are good ones. It's more the implementation or the understanding of the idea that might be a problem on my end. If it's a bad idea or I don't want to do it, I'll just Control-A delete that whole idea, and it'll look like there'll only be the good ideas remaining. It's like how all old appliances and tools from years and years and years ago, we all think that they worked super well because the filter of time inevitably leads anything that didn't work well into the dump, and anything that works really, really well lives a long time. So all your best ideas will still show up, and all the bad ones will be relegated to the ether of deleted lines. Unless they're all in a Git repo somewhere, but okay, so something's wrong with the with parsing this URL. Like it? Perfect. Okay, so what I need to do here is there's two things going wrong here, I think. Let's try. Get to the bottom of this. Let's def A as this URL just because. Let's see if this works. That does. Okay, so my parse URL function is the thing that's breaking it. So the base URL is this, and then the video is that. Okay, so there's a different URL format when I do this, right? There must be. Ah, okay, so this is, see this? Here, this URL has the video unique part in the URL portion, but here, when I parse this, it has the video as an argument, or what are those called in URLs, like a variable in a URL. I forget what the name of that is, but it's producing this weird result. Trying to think of how to query parameters. Thank you. That's what it is. So how do I want to handle this? What I would like is to be able to put a URL from my address bar or from the shared stuff in the YouTube UI. I would like either one to work. So in order to do that, well, I could make an exception for the v parameter. I don't necessarily like that though. I could make it Am I trying too hard here? I might be trying too hard. Oh, well, no matter what, either way, I can actually just do this, right? This should fix the problem. And I only need, oops. because this function works regardless of the shape of the URL, as long as it's a valid YouTube or Twitch URL, it should be okay. Then here, okay, that might work already. Let's find out here. That's not the right function. Oh, of course. Sorry, this is just supposed to be URL. I also this might make the most sense. Let's do let's change parse URL to be a little bit better. We don't need to change what it provides, but we can add a little bit to what it provides. And by that I mean parse URL can do all of this stuff. So it'll add all the keys and values normally, and it'll add URL, and it'll add full URL. So into, let's see here, URL. How did I do this? Well, let's just do it this way. So here's the map, assoc into the map, into full URL, the value URL. So now if I parse URL, I have the URL, which is just the front of the thing, and then the full URL is exactly what was passed in. So using that, I don't lose any data. I don't lose anything at all. It's all just nicely bundled, and I can do this way. I can still pull full URL from parsed URL, and that I think is fine. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's a bad way of doing it, but it should work. You could just have two cases where one looks for YouTube and the other looks for YouTube with the .be, parse based off which one you find, assuming the URLs are always one of those two designs. Yeah, that crossed my mind. I want to keep it a little more general than that, if that makes sense. Like, theoretically, parse URL, I could pass a completely non-video related thing. The idea is, if there's a URL with query parameters of any kind, if you run parse URL, you get the parameters as a key, and then the query, the parameter name, and then the parameter value you just get as a key value. You just get the parameters as a map. So I don't want to do switch cases on the actual URL shape. That's the thinking anyway. I'm not sold one way or another, or I'm not gonna die on any of those hills. But let's go with what I've got in here for now. So let's clip A from 1000 for 20 seconds. Still not correct. Why is that? URL of A. Oh, silly. Full URL of parse URL. This should work. Please. I'm missing something. Oh, what? What did I do wrong? I goofed. Oh, look. Full URL and URL are the same right now. They're both wrong. Oops. Let's fix that. Okay, URL. Oh, here's why. X URL. I shadowed URL like a goose. I just did it wrong. Yeah, so you've got URL and rest. Vals into X URL. Oh, and then I can actually do this. I could do URL, X URL, full URL, matches the original URL. Yes, and then I can do this. And then I can be a little more thorough with my check that it will work. Oh, I have to get rid of a soch. That's not good. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so full URL is the original thing. URL is this, and then it's got V, which is that. Okay, that is perfect. All right, so now using that, I should be able to run this clip A. And there we go. We've got a title, we've got the audio URL and the video URL as well. That comes courtesy of YouTube DL. I didn't write the code that, like that's dispatching to another program. So I'm not some super genius here. I'm just a normal guy who uses other people's programs because why not? Okay, so using that, I can now try to run this and generate an actual clip. Oh no, now what? That's weird. Does it work? Surely it works with this still, right? Did I mess something else up? So this seems to be working. Yeah, that worked. What's the deal? Right, so I'm missing something. But I don't know what. And that's the trick. Oh, wait a minute. I wonder. No. Did you call clip the first time with 2 parameters instead of just 1? Called it with 3 parameters. So it's either 3 or 2 parameters at the moment. So the 3 parameter version, you give it a URL, you give it a start time in seconds, and then you give it a duration. The 2 parameter version, you give it a URL, which implicitly has a start time in the URL, and then you give it a duration. That's the difference I'm working on here. So A is a URL without the time stamp in it. And then B is one with it in it. See this? The time here. And it just happens. It should theoretically be the same otherwise. Let's do YouTube URL to video data of B. Should have the same output as A. The URLs are shaped differently, but they point to the same video, and they should, in theory, pull exactly the same information. And just at a really rough glance, it looks correct that they are. They both get the same title, so I just am trying to figure out where I'm going wrong with things. That's all. It doesn't currently make sense to me. So let's try a clip with B. Yeah, same problem. I'm wondering if it's something weird like this. Yes, that is it. Well, that's a bummer. Okay, I can fix that. Yeah, okay, so something is strange there. So if I do okay, let's do sorry, I gotta clear this up. So this has to be coerced into a string somewhere. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is just, see that? I did it here. I should do it here and here as well, time. Just to be safe. That way I can pass it in as a number in the sensible places, and it just gets coerced at the last second. That should fix that. Save that. Ba-da-ba-ba, ba-da-ba-ba. Okay. Right. Okay, so the clips are working okay now. What I would think would be a good idea is Um, if I do this, I think that might be better than having a weird title show up in there. So now, for example, if I clip that, I can remove that. I'm just clearing out the test files from here. Now, with the new clip definition, I should be able to do something like this. If I clip URL B or A, it shouldn't matter. Let's clip it at 1000. It'll be 20 seconds long, but the name will be clip 001. And that should save a file once it's done with the name clip001.mov. So that should, oops, if I open clip 001, it did successfully download.
Comment this out for a minute.
A 20-second long clip from time 1000 in that particular URL. So that's good. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Step in the right direction.
Excuse me.
Okay, that's really good. Oops. Okay, next thing to do. Should probably make it an optional parameter, so you give it a default random string. If a name isn't given, like a UUID, maybe rip the title from the video, add some unique identifier at the end. Yeah. I suppose it's not a bad idea. I can add, so I already pulled the title in. So the random name idea, I can do something like this. Just thinking about perhaps there's an even better way to do this. Something like this. It takes a map keys. More of a cover yourself if you forget to include a name. Not completely necessary, but you tend to think towards reuse by others, which is not necessarily the goal here. So I get the point. So the reason I think I might specifically want you to include the name is in the way that I'm going to be using this, I need to generate names anyway, and if I forget to generate names, it still won't work. So having it save the video with a name that I won't be able to use is just as ineffective as not downloading the video at all. So I'd almost rather have it just outright fail because I forgot to provide a name, then for it to succeed and then fail later when I don't have the expected name of a clip. Does that make sense? But the reason I'm thinking through this is to make it even a little more general. It might actually be a good idea to do something like this. When I call the function clip instead, it would look something like imagine it looking like this instead. I give it a map where I give it URL, start, duration, but then it could I could set the function up to optionally do something like instead of duration, I could pass it end as well. So you can get different sort of call structures and still get the same results, you know? And then here, if I give it a name, then I can give it a name. But if it doesn't have a name, then it would default to what you're suggesting, where it pulls the title plus a gen sim or something like that. Could work. Is that a good idea? It might be. Makes sense. If the workflow is you'd rather it fail early to avoid videos with weird names, then the argument doesn't hold up here. So you're right. I'm thinking about me wanting to create new workflows where it makes sense later to do that, but I am not going to worry about it right now. I'd rather get something that does work and then I can always tweak it later. That's the thing about making video editing scripts anyway, is there's almost not there's not too much point trying to make it like extremely generally reusable, because the most reusable thing is me not to make a script at all. It's to create FFmpeg stuff completely fresh every time, right? That's the most general, but it's the least helpful, right? Anyway, it's also true that every single video project I do is a little bit different, and I come up with new things that I need. So it's a bit of a weird balance. I don't want to spend tons of time trying to make a whole new language over top of FFmpeg. I just want to wrap up a few things that are a little bit easier. So I'm going to stick with this for now, and I'm going to be happy with that for the time being. And then I can always tweak it later. It's not like it's my code. I can change it. But I do think that there's some merit to your suggestion as controlled by a little argument map being passed in. I think that's probably the most elegant solution that I just don't want to implement today, to be completely honest. Although it wouldn't even be that hard. I want to move on to the next little bit here, which is something I want to now I can tweak this blur border resize thing a little bit to be a little nicer. I wonder if there are other blur effects that would kind of be cool to use here. So right here, this whole thing, you put one video in, it expands the video, or it resizes it to 1080p. It applies a blur to that one, and then the same original clip it resizes to 720p and overlays that non-blurred video onto the blurred video for the blur effect. That's really useful for vertical footage that you want to still fill the whole screen. I used that in my Stanley Park YouTube video. I made this is a different one, but it actually probably would work exactly the same. Here's this thing called Nicer Vertical, which does all of that same thing. I think probably a general solution to this would be where I pass in. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Let's think about this briefly. Blur border. I'm going to copy this. See if I make a general function where if that makes the most sense. Blur border. F name. Oops. Width in, height in. Width, height, inner width, inner height. Go with that for the time being. So what this does, the idea here is you resize it. So the first one here, right, you'd resize it to oh, that's in the wrong. Oh, shoot. Width, height, inner width, inner height. Oh, having another classic idea coming on. What if you allowed different URLs for the background video and the foreground video? So you could pass in a video of a beach and waves as the background to be blurred, and the foreground would be you developing. I like that idea. That's a really good idea. I'm going to finish this blur border function, and then I'm going to make another blur border function that does exactly what you're talking about, because that's really cool. I like that a lot. Okay, so this one is actually not that hard of a change. All I need to do here, I'm going to turn off pair edit for this. It's a little easier to do stuff like this. So this first one is width height like this. The second one, eye width, eye height. Yes, and then you do your blur. Over the normal thing, and then it centers it over like that. Yes, that makes sense. Okay, so let's try that. So I'm going to do the generic one, blur border. I'm going to pass in the file clip 001.mov. I want it to be scaled to 1920 by 1080. And then I want the other clip to be 1600 by 9, the inside of it to be 1600 by 900, and it's gonna be BB is the name. Oh, there we go. It shouldn't take too long. So let's open that, clip 01.
And
Yeah, so that
I'm gonna
works
comment this
exactly
out for
right.
a minute. Let's
So now this other one is I'll just call it blur border 2 for lack of a better name. And it uses the same idea. The only difference is how should I do this? This is a bad. So here's the thing that I'm gonna come up with better structure for these functions. For example, call use map destructuring to combine a few of these functions into one. Perhaps use def method to dispatch on the types of keys that are in the map you pass. Actually, that's a pretty good idea. Applies to. Actually, that could be an interesting idea. Anyway, without worrying about it too much, background width, background height, foreground width, foreground height. Yeah, if I don't like it. I never like that. Back, 4, back, 4. Good. Oop. Oh, right. I didn't fix this. So, the new file name of this is going to come from the foreground file name because that's like the real clip. The background one is more incidental. And there's a few things that have to change. So here, this is the background file name, is the first input. Then the second input is the foreground file name. And so what we do here, scale 1, can stay. It just becomes the blur. Scale 2 is the second video input, so then otherwise it stays the same. Then applying this stays the same. And here, new file name is the new file name. So the only, the other thing is I don't want it to clip at the shortest. I want it to clip at, I have to recall how this is written. I don't remember. Discover more, please. Filters. shortest. I have to think about this, but I also have to go to the washroom, so I'm gonna be right back. Okay. Let's see what we've got. All right. Shortest. The reason this matters is because if the background footage is longer, it like has a longer runtime than the foreground footage, then it's good. But if the background footage is, let's just leave it at shortest. That might be okay, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna call that okay, because that means I can just provide really long background footage and it'll only use as much as is needed. So let's go with that. Let's let's get a beach of some kind. And see if I can make this work. Should be fine. You can also experiment with repeat. That's true. So the one thing I'm not sure of is like, so for this little test, I don't mind just using some footage on YouTube, but probably I'll run my own B-roll and just have a library of B-roll stuff that I use, so that there's never any concern about me not using stuff I'm allowed, like using footage that I'm not licensed to use, you know? Let's just do, I don't know, a minute of this. It's quite beautiful. Perfect. Clip. Beach.mov. Pastorino. Let's do 60 seconds. Don't want to get a copyright strike. No, absolutely not. For something like this, I would imagine it'd be fine, but don't want to take those risks. It's not worth it, right? And it's for footage that's intentionally blurred and all that stuff. Might even be fine, but yeah, some video. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Walking footage like that is it's stuff I know I recorded, right? So I'm gonna give myself permission to use it. So stuff like that should be fine. I also like the idea of I like the idea of making as much of this stuff myself as possible. It's one reason why I don't have a ton of music or crazy sound effects stuff, because I don't yet feel like I've been trying to teach myself how to do basic electronic music so that I can add more audio to my content. But that's a work in progress. But that's also why I kind of, if you make everything yourself, then you never really have to worry about copyright stuff, which is a nice thing to not have to worry about. But then you have to know how to make everything yourself, which is the hard part. Okay, so I've got clip 1, beach.mov.mov. Oops. There we go. That's a little better. Okay. Nope, wrong one. No, there we go. Blur border 2, please. What's wrong now? What did I do? Could not resolve back W. There we go. Well, let's give that a try. Blur border 2. Background file name is beach.mov. 1920 by 1080. Foreground is clip 001.mov. And it's going to be what's the audio going to do when you overlay two videos like this? Will it mute the background video? Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. Let's find out. Just trying to look out for the headphone listeners. Good call. I think, well, let's start by making this clip work the way, like, let's just run this clip this way. And we'll go from there. Unfortunately, when I'm streaming, it only plays audio through the HDMI. So it'll play audio into the stream. So you hear the footage I'm playing, but I don't. And if I Bluetooth my headphones to this, then it stops playing audio out. Mac and streaming and audio is kind of a pain. It doesn't work the way I expect. And if I try to make OBS play the audio out, that doesn't totally work either. Things just are confusing to me, unfortunately. But so this I will have to hear after the fact, but you guys will be able to hear it now, whatever it sounds like, and maybe you can describe it to me. I don't know. Open clip BB2. Let's keep the audio a little bit low here. Well, it's working. So do you hear beach noises? It's just the beach. Okay. Good to know. It's also possible that there's not much audio to hear. Oh, that's weird. Windy beach. Thanks, Mac. Okay, oh boy. Whoa. Let's get that back over there. Okay, so there's got to be a way to mix only the audio from the second one in, right? That's the thing. Quite relaxed now. Perfect. I think I want to make a little DSL in Clojure for the filter graphs so that I don't have to. Also, Black Hole can fix Mac OS audio routing. I've not heard of this before. The other thing is I haven't looked into this much because it has been a non-issue for most of my streaming time, because most of my dev work doesn't really involve much audio stuff. So it's usually fine. And in fact, what could work, or what would work, if I switch my... Oh, this would work. This would totally work. But I'd lose... Sorry. I'm going to try one thing. Without this, I'm going to put my chat up on my phone so I don't lose that. Sorry, I'm sidetracking myself, but I actually want to try this now, so I'm going to be okay with it. Route between apps. Thanks, Mac, for this tip. This might actually help me out as well. Good to know. I'm going to keep that tab open over there. Let's do this. Pop this out. Let's do one of these to check that things are going okay. Yep. Perfect. All right. Okay, now I hear it. Right. So what I did was so the reason I don't like to do it this way is I switched my monitor to display the actual output from my Mac as opposed to the stream computer's output. So I can't see my own I can't see the status of my OBS right now. That's why I don't do this. But that would be a quick and dirty way to fix my audio issues. 1 second. Now I got to switch it back because it doesn't matter that much right now. Ta-da! Okay, so in a pinch, I can do something like that, so I can hear audio. Not perfect, but not bad. Okay. Now what I need to do is figure out overlay. I'm pretty sure there's a simpler way to do all this. FFmpeg copy audio from second clip. So there's got to be something here I can specify to pull from the second audio source. That's what I need to do. How? These things are a little hard to Google. Oh. Maybe something like this. Let's read about this map function here so I understand that. Ignore the first audio track. Okay, this is probably it here. Probably. Let's see. I do something like this. Map 1A. The 0th track from the first input file. I don't know, maybe that'll work. We'll find out. See if it complains at us. Think your foreground video wasn't playing either. Didn't get a clear look. It was playing, I think. Can you hear me talking right now, Mac? Oh, okay. Yeah, so there's nothing playing sound right now. This
And I'm gonna
should be
comment
playing
this
sound
out
now.
for a minute. And
do you hear that?
Excuse me. Let's do
Voice recording. Perfect. Thank you. Good to know. Give myself a little note here. Take audio from the foreground. Second video input using map. Map 1A0, which reads as take from the one index video the zeroth track. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Sure, that's kind of okay. Good enough for now. Okay, so that is a bunch of different filter things. Should be okay. Right now, I've got a little bit of time left to start messing around with some titles. So, let's get a bit of title work in here. Let's reevaluate this block here and do spit out.html, the result of running HTML on test overlay. And that should, yeah, cool. That should give me some kind of neat looking title. So let's turn this into a kind of cooler looking title. We'll start with the simple ISO title's fine. I'm gonna give it basically all of this. and just tweak things a little bit. So the text, oops, is just going to be text like this, txt, just in case, because there's a function called text, but it shouldn't matter. String. S? I don't know. Off topic, last 2 cents as string debate. For me, it's a practical issue. It is true, formally string doesn't shadow string the function or the namespace, but in practice, editors are not able to uniquely complete on string. Also, using stir is inconsistent with the general rules for how to alias namespaces. A recipe for good namespace aliases. The guide is self-contradictory on this, recommending both stir and string. As always, your mileage may vary. See, so Mac, this is fantastic. Thank you so much. But that's so funny, right? That even the style guide has a few contradictions in it, right? That I think is inevitable with any general purpose programming language that's used by enough people. There's inevitably going to be these stylistic inconsistencies, right? But your point about it being tough to resolve properly in editors is one I hadn't thought of, which is a really good point. The most common way to require Clojure string is stir. It may appear to mask this. It's expected. Those work without conflict. So there you go. So right here in the comment it says not as good, but of course you might have noticed that they're a bit inconsistent. The one thing they have in common is that they aim to be concise, but they still carry some meaning. Clojure walk to W would be concise but won't carry as much meaning. Good point. Better be consistent. Right, so here, yeah, a string. Yeah. Right, so here, don't require string as stir in one, but string in another. Makes complete sense to me. Yeah, here's the contradiction. Yeah. Yeah, the code is more what you'd call guidelines than actual rules. Yeah. Captain Barbosa knows what's up. Yeah, Mac, I figured I wasn't I figured I had to scroll to find what you were talking about here. My gut is saying this. As it goes in my particular project, there are probably bigger problems with how I've currently written the code. So, I do not want to get hung up trying to choose stir or string. I'm for sure what I had before, ST, it was not as good as stir or string. So what I'm going to do, at least for the time being, is leave it as str because it's common enough. Your point about it being an editor-related concern makes a ton of sense to me, and I'm going to keep my eyes open for that. As soon as I run into that as a problem, then I'm totally willing to switch it up. As I said, last 2 cents. Mac, I appreciate your input for sure. It's an open source project. Any input, well, not any input, a lot of input, most input is good input, and yours is appreciated for sure. I just want to be clear. I'm not trying to be dismissive. I hope that's okay. But I definitely don't want to be focusing on the wrong things, right? Emacs will suggest both. Right. adding no particular clarity to the problem, right? My personal, if no one in the world looked at my code at all, I would always opt for the shorter one because I don't like typing out full words and all that. But that's a purely selfish motivation, right? And it's not a great motivation anyway. But anyway, that's good to know. Let's keep working on this ISO title thing, see if I can get some half decent output from this. So if I do now spit into the output HTML here, the result of running ISO title on Twitch as the name, sure. Twitch. That doesn't read very well. I need better colors, but it does work, which is really cool. So the cool thing about this is it's a step towards animating. This, well, maybe I should just show you. I can do this. I can do, instead of spit, I can do PNG. Oh, this is messier than I wanted. No. Oops. Jeez. So what I've got going on here is, so this out.html is actually not HTML, it's SVG, but you can open it up in the browser and view it nice and easily either way. It just will complain that you don't have the right doc string, or like it doesn't have any encoding, but it still displays. So for this, it's totally fine. But I can run that same thing through PNG, which saves a PNG. So if I open out.png, it rasterizes it to a PNG file, and once you have a PNG, you can overlay it onto videos. So there we go. I have my complete SVG library as a graphical tool that I can use with FFmpeg. Then I can also start to overlay animations onto things. So that's pretty cool. First try, ship it. Not sure I want to ship it yet. Because what I actually want to do, if I... so this here was another animation or another thing I made. Oops, WebM. This animation, it uses easing, and it's two WebMs overlaid onto each other with transparency, and these are generated from my SVG library. So here, circle animation has this function that's dependent on t, and t goes from 0 to 1, and t, when I invoke animate, is dependent on the duration and the frame rate. So I can get whatever duration and frame rate I want out of these things, and then I can make any combination of animations as long as I have something that's dependent on the variable t, being time. It should more realistically be, I guess t's fine. It's parameterized on t, 0 to 1. Anyway, using that setup, I can make animations that follow mathematical functions and paths and all that stuff. And then I can output it to actual video footage, and then I can overlay it with the overlay stuff. So using all of that, I can kind of mush it together to make something a little better, hopefully. So the static image overlays are okay, but they're not that cool. The animated overlays would be kind of cooler, in my opinion. But I actually have to try that. So if I do something like, let's just try it in the terminal here for a moment. We'll take clip bb2.mov. We'll just do bb for now, why not? And then the other input is going to be circles.webm filter complex overlay. I have no idea if this is going to work. Out.mov. This might not work, but I'll try it. No such file or directory. I typoed it. Okay, so it's actually rendering something. And while that's going, oh, it's done. Well, never mind. Open out.mov. I have no idea if this is going to overlay properly. I mean, it overlaid properly, but as you can see, it didn't overlay with transparency. There's a way to fix that. But this is just enough of a proof of concept that I'm confident I can actually make something that'll kind of nicely animate a title in from the clips I provided. And then all I have to do is download all the clips, make all of the animations, overlay the animations, concatenate those clips. And then I've got 80% of that editing project finished automatically if I just run it, say, overnight, or run it, go for an exercise, and then come back. I don't know. Something like that could work. It's pretty cool. This is some serious bike shedding. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Bike shedding is normally not a good thing, right? Isn't it like supposed to be like, oh, well, you're over here painting the bike shed when you should be doing something else entirely? Or do I misunderstand that? It depends. Oh, you mean like, I think I see what you mean. Like, I'm making a whole script to do video editing when I could just download the clips and edit it and make a video instead of instead of writing code that does it. I could just make the video. Is that what you're saying? Something along those lines? Yeah. So maybe I might agree with you. I don't know if I agree with you. And that's only because here, this VOD's channel had, like, look at all of these VODs, right? There's a lot. There's over 100. And the average duration is a little over 2 hours, probably closer to 2 hours, 20 minutes. And if I were to edit the videos manually, what I would have to do is watch, like kind of do a quick watch through the footage and either write down or figure out times that I want to get it, download either the clip or the whole video, bring it into my editor, cut it manually, save that, and I'd have to cut these huge video files into different things. So downloading just the clips I need, and then having it automatically concatenate, I think will actually be faster. But I'm totally willing to admit this might not be that way. What I'm not willing to admit is that it's a waste of time, because I don't think it is. I think this is a ton of fun. And, just thinking about doing processes of different kinds. It is fun, yeah. A friend of yours ended up building a whole video editor because he was doing YouTube videos. So the general rule for all of these little scripts that I mess around with is do about 80% of a job with a script. Okay, so I'm not usually trying to completely eliminate manual labor, and by manual labor, that's a wrong way to say it. The manual work of an edit or something like that. I'm just trying to get the tedium out of the way, right? And as I do, I find weaknesses and strengths in the various things I do. I promise you, the few FFmpeg automations I've built have helped me a lot in all of my YouTube videos. So maybe it sounds like I'm trying to justify this too much. I don't think it's a waste of time, but it might be. That is, sometimes the only way to find out is to do it and then see if it is or not. Right, so the last little thing here that I solved this earlier. To be able to overlay with transparency, there's something, I do believe it goes like this. I just have to do, I had a note about it somewhere. Layering. Here, I have to just put this in front of this here. Please? No, it ruined it. Let's see if that works. Maybe this would actually be relevant. GitHub IO composition. 1 second, I'll have to look that up. Let's open. I wonder if that worked. It did work. Cool.
And I'm going to comment this out for a minute.
There you go. I've got
my
my own animations overlaid on there. Wow, so fancy. I love it. Nice. Yeah, thanks. I mean, pretty trivial as animations go, but conceptually it's all there. All the pieces are here now. The video editor composition. I've not seen this. I don't think I've seen this. Here we go. Is this what you were saying? Is this your friend's thing that they built? Or is this a different project again? Excuse me. Video editor built for screencasters. Your friend made this. Really cool. Let me do this. Star. Composition. It's an NLE, non-linear editor, I guess. Introduction. Huh. Cool. Young project, blah, blah, blah. That's okay. Concepts. It's Haskell, but he's still okay. He used to code Clojure. I have nothing. I'm not a language purist. Any language that you can use to get a job done is a good language in my books. Haskell seems like something I should learn from time to time too. I'm gonna have to give this one a look. Thank you for pointing this out. It's really cool. Commands. This might actually be pretty darn good. Ow. Built for super efficiency. I like the sounds of that. Preview. Oh, this is really cool. While you're working on a project, you can use preview to see intermediate results. That makes sense. It's really cool. Rendering. Take some time. Yeah, that makes sense. Nice stuff. One of the smartest people you know. Well, that's high praise. I mean, I'm not saying it's not deserved. I don't know the person, but this is definitely gonna be a project I keep my eyes on. Absolutely. Man, I've got now 2 tabs from Mac that 3. Well, this is the Clojure style guide. I know where that is. Even if he is Swedish, why would being Swedish have any effect on your potential intelligence? Nah, I know we're joking around. Thanks for pointing that out. That's gonna I'm probably gonna try that one out on my next video edit. It's Jeez, excuse me. I'm gonna try that on my next video edit. It seems cool. Okay. Was there a FFmpeg layer? Oh, I want to keep this one open. That's my bad. F's in chat, apparently. Let's just do this. There. Now I know what I'm looking at. I was looking up something. It was layers. Stack is not the same thing. Stacking is like tiling a little bit. It's not it. Sorry, I'll be right back. Gotta go for a minute. Okay, I think I'm gonna go stream for probably another 30 minutes ish, something like that. And I'll see what's up from there. Oh, Mac, it auto detects scenes in video and sentences in voiceover. Really? Do you know how it does that? Magic. Perfect. Let's see. I wonder if there's something in the README about that. Oh, wow. Brew install. That's nice and easy. As I said, he is smart. Intro. I'm really curious the method. The method of scene detection. That's neat. I'm gonna have to poke through the source. Anyway, okay. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. I'm gonna try and make a proto layering thing. I'm just thinking the basics of a layering system actually have this kind of thing built in. So let's copy and paste and start here. Right? Why not? So I had to take a call. What's on the docket now? So I've got the blurring stuff in place. I have the basis of, oh, did I delete it? What did I do? Oh. I even have, so this, not sure if you saw this, Mike, but this video, these circles here are my animated circles overlaid right on there. So the transparency is working. You might have seen that, not sure. But what I'm working on now is I want to make a little tool that can help me layer things, so I can put, the idea is I can put title animation overlaid on the clip that has that same title. So what I can do is auto-generate clips with their respective information titles overlaid right away. Then I can run that function, have it run, and then after that's complete, there will be a folder full of those clips ready to go, and then I just run one final concatenate that stitches all of those into a final edit video, and then I can just do a final manual post-process. So the next thing I'm doing is building a layer function. So it's going to take in the output file name and then a list of maps. So the first map in the list is the base layer, then the next one is the next layer on top, and then on top and on top. So what I could do is make a few different animation elements and layer them all together. And if this works well enough, I can make it generalized a little bit, and then I can re-implement these blur things using the layering functionality, so I get a little more consistency through the whole thing. So that's a longer term sort of thing, but for right now, the basics of a layering system, for each layer, I just have to do something to the effect of, sounds quite fancy. Yeah, I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself, but it should be okay. Example layer. So let's do an example layer here. It's gonna be file. Is that right? Yeah, I'll do it file based for now. It would be even cooler if in the future you do it all stream based, so you don't have to generate a bunch of temp files, but files are not a problem right now. So let's do an example layer. Let's do clip 001 bb.mov. The overlay position X is 0. The overlay position Y is also 0. And that's the whole thing. That's an example layer right there. Nothing complicated at all. Okay, so using that, so defen let's make a private function. We'll call it layer input. Suppose that's okay. And keys. File. Okay. So this takes in a layer map directly, and all it's going to do is spit out the pair like this. So the string -I, and then the string that comes from file. Oh wait, no, just like this. Maybe that's not worthy of a function, but it's a good start. Right, so doing that, if I do layer input of example layer, did it not? Sorry, a little glitch there. There we go. Layer input of example layer. It correctly generates this -I, whatever the clip is. So that is going to be a function that I use to build out this part of the function call. And then the second thing I have to do is build out the call with the filter complex, which I think... Oh, I'm going to make a little test thing here just for a minute. Hello? There we go. Oof. Need a new keyboard soon. This is a silly way to do this. Why am I doing this? Let's do this. Also, what is going on? I'm losing my mind right now. Okay, so here we make a ASDF. What I want to do is just call this with hard-coded values for a second to see if I can successfully do a triple stack overlay in one FFmpeg call. I'm not sure if I can. I think I can, but I have to check. So the input here is just going to be... Oh, I know. I'll do it this way. So let's do clip 001 dot -bb dot mov. Let's overlay that with with circle.webm as the input. Oh, and of course I do have to do this thing where I put I pressed the wrong buttons. Copy. Okay. All right, so what I'm doing here is passing in 3 files to the overlay, and I'm going to try see if that will work the way that I want it to. So I actually don't want to scale anything, so we can just get rid of all of this. Can we? Not quite. Ah, okay, so this is where things get a bit interesting. So let's get rid of this first. We can start directly with an overlay. So by this logic, the first clip I pass in is the base clip. So the first overlay is going to be 0 video and 1 video, like this. It's going to overlay. I'm not going to pass in any arguments to the overlay. Actually, why not leave it like that? That's pretty cool. And then what I need to do is give it some name. Right, so it's going to be, I'll call it over 1, over 001. The name doesn't matter, like the name is arbitrary but important. Do you want to rely on order, not as Z index? What do you mean by Z index? Like, do you mean where I do Z index like this? So 0 is the lowest, and then 1, 2, 3, that kind of thing? Because now that you say that, if that's what you mean, that's actually a really good point. Yeah, that's actually a great point, because is it a great, yeah, I will need to ingest the whole sequence in one go anyway, the way I'm currently going about it, so having a Z index to order it isn't a bad idea. Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. I asked Mike this earlier on. Sometimes what I do on stream and whatever, I try to give credit to people for ideas and suggestions where possible. So I leave little notes and stuff like that saying this idea by and then a username. If you prefer that I do not use your username here, like that I just don't do this, you can let me know and I won't do that. It's up to you. The only the reason I do this is to try and provide credit for people. Yeah, get Mac's name in the notes. Yeah, Mike's name is kind of riddled throughout here and there. And if you want, Mac, I can keep your names in or I can take them out. It's not a big deal. But the whole idea is to give a bit of credit where I can. Fine with credit, you'll survive. Perfect. Mike, you're making this sound way creepier than it is. One of us. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so here, over 001, has to be now to video overlay, same thing. This gets to be over 002. What? Now what? Oh, of course. This is nothing. This is a test. So let's run that. See if it works. It's a cult. It's not a cult. I sure hope not. It's a stream. It's different. I missed something. Oh, yeah, this. I hear Cthulhu calling. Oh, if it's a Cthulhu cult, that's kind of cool, right? That's a little cooler. I don't know what I'm talking about. What went wrong now? Mike, you have to get going? Got to prep dinner and such. Pleasure as always. Best of luck with the remainder of the stream. Catch you tomorrow. Hey, yeah, thanks. Have a good dinner and all that stuff, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for the company and tuning in today. Appreciate it as always. There we go. That was a video. That made a video. Let's open that. Test.
And I'm going to comment this out for a minute.
Okay, that's really good. So that's really boring, kinda, but it works perfectly the way I wanted. So now, conceptually that works. What it means is I have to build a little function that will generate. So the easy part is something that generates this here, these pairs of calls like this. I have to sleep. We'll let you get productive. Hey, Mac, thanks for tuning in. It's nice to see you around a bunch of streams. I appreciate that. Have a good sleep, okay? And I'll maybe see you around another time. Thanks for pointing out the black hole thing and the cosmopolitan stuff. I'm going to have to give those a good look. I appreciate all the help. Yeah, cheers to you too. All right. Okay. So this works conceptually. Now what I want to do is just figure out how to get it to work completely. Filter complex. Let's start with that. Let's do this. Keys. let's see. Let's do example layers now. There. Yes. Okay. So these are just going to be different clips for testing. We'll do circle.webm and circle2.webm. Like that. I wonder if this actually will work. Let's try ASDF one more time. No. Ooh, hey. Good to know. So I need to actually build a little thing here. So let's do this file extension thing. This should be a utility on its own, probably. Probably yes, but let's not worry about it. No, this goes like this. Let name and extension be like that. From file. And then I is file. And then here you do when equals, when the extension equals .webm, that means it's an animatable thing. So you do this, you add vcodec lib vpx vp9, and that's necessary for the transparency stuff. So layer input, let me finish this. This file I want to do, I don't know, 20, and this one can be 500, 500. Okay, so if I map layer input over example layers, it does work. And then if I apply string to that, no, that's wrong. Oh, will mapcat do what I want it to? Yep, mapcat. Yeah, apply string mapcat. Not quite. Oh, of course, no, I can do this. String / join. Ugh, again, correct, but I need a space there. There we go. Yeah, so that'll work, right? That sets all the first inputs, except it's missing. Something went wrong here. Oh, when extension equals webm without the dot. Yeah. Almost. Right, this, yeah. Um, what's the, well, okay, let's just do this. I can just concatenate this when extension blah 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 with this. That'll work, right? Yes, that works. Perfect. Okay, so there we go. That's let's see what that looks like without the string join. Yes. Okay, that looks correct. Okay, that should be okay. So then that should make everything good to go with this filter complex here, which is going to be a little harder. It's going to take 2. Well, let's take A and B as a starting point, then I could do something kind of weird like this. Layer filter base takes a layer and it returns the function format partial format. Wait, does format? Yeah, that works. Kinda. Def A. So A is a function, right? A1. Yeah, that works. Okay. So I can use this to take is that gonna work? Let's do an overlay partial. Returns a function. Yeah, that makes some sense to me. So we start with this little basis here. Shortest, whatever has a name. Okay, so. Oh boy. This is some X position and this is some Y position. Shortest I want to be true, and then this is going to be some generated symbol or something like that. So they're let's change this a bit. Function taking arguments, string. Okay, so the arguments are n current. Sure, let's go with that for now. So the string here, this is n. That should always be true. then here, this part is a format. Format this string %03D with n as well. And then this is just a little weird because it could be I don't know why I'm doing this way. This is a silly way to do it too. Just do this. Overlay partial, yes, is so far a working thing. So if I overlay partial 1, we get a correctly formed thing. Then 2 is going to be wrong now, because so it's the right thing here. This is correct, but we need this to be n minus 1. Yeah, so let's do a little let here. Let A be if, yeah, so this here is all going to be A. So if, oof, yeah, if n is greater than 1, then if n is greater than 1, then A is this with the result of n minus 1. Format that. Yeah. Otherwise, if n is equal to 1 or whatever, then you just fill it with this to seed the beginning of the whole thing. Does this make sense? I wonder if this is correct. I have to do this. Oh, there's a typo here. This should be close bracket. Okay, so that's a partial. Oh, except now, of course, it does still need to return the x. Yeah, this whole thing has to still be Let's change this to be 0 indexed a little bit here. If n equals 0, no, That's fine. No, that's fine. Okay, so overlay partial takes some n positions. So let's do the first layer. Let's imagine it's 20 by 20. Okay. Let's do the second layer. Let's do the last layer. So this is where it could get incorrect. Actually, let's check. Let's run a quick test here. I don't know if I leave this last one with a name, is it a problem? Oh. No, that's not correct because well, it's so cond. If n is this, you do that. Ugh, okay. This isn't, my brain's not working. I'm gonna call it for today. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I appreciate the interaction as always. I appreciate anyone tuning in after the fact or participating in the channel in whatever way you are. I'm gonna have to get going for the day. Give my brain a rest, go outside, get some nice sunlight, all that good stuff, and I will be on my way. So I'll be back again tomorrow. Hopefully it's a nice Friday stream. In the meantime, have a good one, everyone, and I'll see you later.